Hello, year sevens. Today we're looking at adding and subtracting positive and negative integers. So the lesson is all about whole numbers and it's about being able to add or subtract despite whether they're positive or negative values. So the first thing that we're going to start with is we're just going to talk about positive and negative integers. Okay, so the first important thing is you're probably scared of the word integer. Integer is not a scary word. It basically just means whole numbers. So integer should be a word that makes you happy. It just means we're working with whole numbers. Now, the big thing with integers is they can be both positive or negative. So that means we could be looking at something like -5, or it could be that we're looking at 3, or -10, or 15. As long as it's a whole number, positive or negative is fine. Now, thinking about negative numbers can be a little bit difficult. And if we can go back to that number line, I'll point something out to you that's really important. Okay, so something you would know from the number line is that generally it all revolves around 0. So 0 being the center. If I put out my little dashes moving right from 0, then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over here is all positive integers. So basically, over here we're looking at positive whole numbers. Now, the idea really is that to go from 0 to 2, we've got to go 2 jumps. So 1, 2 jumps in the right direction. If we're moving into negative land, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's the same but opposite, so it's mirrored. So -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. So the idea is that it's the same distance away. So if we go left 2, it's still 2 jumps, but it's just in an opposite direction. So this distance 2 is still the same. This distance 2 is still the same. And the big thing to remember, negative numbers are just opposite. So we're talking about opposite 2, opposite 3, and so on. So if we keep that in mind, that does help us a little bit with what we're going to do. Now, I'm going to tell you my strategy for working with positive and negative integers. It works with my kids, and hopefully it'll work for you as well. So my strategy is thinking of positive and negative integers as money owed and money that I have. Okay, now everybody's dealt with money, so this is one of those areas that everyone can at least go, yeah, I can see that. Now the idea is that we've got a bank account, and the money in that bank account, if it's positive, then it's money that I've got coming in, and if it's negative, it's money that I'm paying out. Okay, so that's the idea. And the other idea is that we can overdraw our account. So that means that the bank will let us spend more money than we've got. So that means we can spend more than we have, which really means that we can have negative money. So here's a really easy example. So let's look at 12 take away 15. So if I think of it in this way, now something to get used to, when we see a takeaway is a shortcut of plus a negative. So instead of looking at this takeaway as just takeaway, we can say, well, that's plus negative. So we've got 12 and then we've got -15. So takeaway is just a sneaky way of pointing out a negative. Really, the idea is that I look at this 12 and I go, okay, well, I have $12 in my account. And this $15 I'm spending, $15 it's spending because it's negative, so it's going out. So if I've got $12 and I'm spending 15, the thought is, what will I end up with? Will I be owing money? Or will I be keeping some money and having some positive value? Now, when we think about it that way, normally most people go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I've got 12, I'm spending 15, so I'll spend 12 of that, and then I'll still owe $3. So it's still that 15 take 12. We know the difference is 3, but I'll be owing $3, so it'll be -3. Now, we can show that same thing on a number line, right? If we wanted to. Now, I don't think the number line is a good way to do it because it takes a whole lot of time, and we want to be quicker than that. So the idea is with a number line, we've got 0 here. We start with 12. When we go back 12, we go back down to 0. And we actually want to go back 15, so that disparity, that difference, is that we've got to go another 3. So that overall is a -15, and we end up with our -3 as our answer. So we could do the 15 jumps and end up at -3, but that would take a long time, and that's not our goal. Our goal is not to take a long time. Our goal is to build up this skill so we can do it nice and quick. All right, so let's look at a couple, and we'll see if we can apply that concept. So we've got 4 questions. We've got -2 plus 3. We've got -8 plus 1. We've got 5 take 7, and -3 take 3. All right. So this one works out nicely. We've got -2 and plus 3. So the idea is that I owe $2 and I've got 3 coming in. So if I'm in debt too, but I get $3, then what we end up with is going 2 backwards, 3 forwards, and we end up with 1 left over. Okay, so another way to think about that is we've got -2 plus 2 plus 1. So that 3 breaks into 2 and 1. All right, B. So -8 plus 1. So I owe 8 and I've got $1 coming in. So if I owe 8 and I've got 1 coming in, then I still am going to owe 7. And that means I end up with -7 as my answer. All right, we'll do C and D without writing the extra. This is basically one-line questions when you practice them. So I've got 5 take 7. That means I've got $5, and we can write that take 7 as plus -7. So I've got $5, and I'm having to pay out $7, or I'm owing $7. So after that all levels out, so that -7, we're going to go 5 backwards, then we'll have to go 2 more backwards. We end up with -2. And our last one, we owe 3, and then we owe 3 again. So -3 take 3, which is plus -3. So I owe 3, and I owe 3 again, which means I end up owing 6. So I end up with -6. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. It will take a little bit of practice coming to terms with, but hopefully you can start to get these set in place. Next lesson, we'll look at adding a little bit more to it, but this is all it is in this lesson. So if you can all now pause and have a go at these 4 questions, A, B, C, and D, and then when you unpause, we'll go through the answers. Okay, so our first one, we owe 4, and we've got 7. So owe 4 and got 7, so that means that we have 7. We go 4 backwards, and we end up with 3. With part B, if I owe 8, but I've got $3, so if we use that $3, and then we can owe another 5. So end up $5 owing. See, we've got $4 and we owe 8. So if we got $4, pay that $4, we still owe another 4. And then finally, our last one, we've got owe 6 and we also owe 4. So if we owe 6 and we owe 4, then altogether we owe 10. All right. So this may be new, hopefully it clicks. Think about it in terms of money, then that does help. One other way, obviously, is using the number lines, but like I said, it is a slow process, and sometimes it's just quicker to learn these skills mentally. So I will do each of these ones with a number line to show you as well. So let's look at going 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10, and here's 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there's -10. So here is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay, so when I look at A, and I'll do this one in red, so we're looking at -4 plus 7. So we'll start at -4, and then we'll add 7. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from 0, this is 3. So we end up with +3. So our first answer, 3, that confirms it. All right, the second one we'll do in green. We have -8 plus 3. So if we start at -8, so that's -5, -6, -7, -8. And we're adding 3, so that means we're jumping forwards 3 times. So we go 1, 2, 3. And here's our finishing spot, which is -5. So again, we can confirm that -5. All right, the next one we'll do in black. So now we have 4 take 8, or 4 plus -8. So we'll start at 4. And the only difference between positive and negative is when we're subtracting, or when we're adding a negative, we're going backwards. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we end up here at -4, and that confirms that one as well. Now our last one, what beautiful color should we use? Let's use purple. The last one, we've got -6, and then we're subtracting 4. So -6, which is here, and we're going 4 backwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We end up here at -10, so that confirms that as well. All right, so your choice, the way you think about it. Really, if you've got a way that works, and it's quick and nice and efficient and easy, and you don't make mistakes, then stick with it. If this is new to you, then I always recommend the money one because it's nice and easy. Number lines do work again, but they take a little bit of extra time. Okay, so that concludes the lesson for today. I'll have a math-based task set for you, and I'll add some extra questions if you want. If you don't want to go on math-based, in Spiritus for you to do as well. Okay, thank you.